Welcome to Generation Jones, a podcast about life's unique challenges over 50 in today's pro-aging culture. I'm your host, Wendi Cooper, and this is where we talk about it. I do hope you enjoy the show. Today, my guest is Darla Haun. She's an actor, a TV host who has appeared in over 75 infomercials. She's been in theater, movies, as well as Jay Leno's wife on those hilarious skits on The Tonight Show. Darla is 54 years old, and she is finding new ways to transition into her second half of life to find her true purpose. Darla, welcome to Generation Jones.
Thank you very much, Wendi. It's great to be here. Very excited.
Thanks for coming on a Saturday. And first, let's tell the audience a little bit about you in your own words and, how you got into being a host on infomercials and where that led you on your path. And then eventually we'll get to what we really want to talk about are these mutual challenges that we all have going through this transition in life from after 50.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about
Right.
yourself.
Thank you. Well, I'm a native LA County San Pedro gal, and really, I fell into doing infomercials. So I was going out theatrically and commercially, and it was a job that I got doing one of the first infomercials back before people really knew.
Which one was that?
It was the media group. It was Easy Crunch.
Oh, right. Easy Crunch. Oh my God. Well,
Uh-huh.
everybody's going to remember Easy Crunch.
Right. Sunny Howard.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy Crunch was that thing that you kind of put against your abs, right? And you pulled in and out or
It
down,
looked
up
like
and
a
down.
bicycle pump
Uh-huh.
that you put on your knees
Yeah.
and you would just pump and
Yeah.
you could pump to the side.
Yeah.
Was the
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, at that time, the theatrical agent and the commercial agent fought over who should cover it because it was a product selling
Yeah.
something commercial
Right.
per view, and it was over 30 minutes long,
Right.
which was the theatrical. So that's funny because that's how new they were.
Yeah.
And remember when we called them info commercials?
You know what? I actually have never called them an info commercial.
Right.
I've
Right,
always
right.
called them infomercials. But there's a funny thing in our industry because Darla and I come from the infomercial world. That's how we know each other. That, we always. Did you call them info commercials, Darla?
I didn't, but my sister did for
Oh, okay.
years. And I just always loved it. It's kind of like she also calls Costco, Costco. And I just love it. I never correct her.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I do remember people because we would always have the Academy Awards of infomercials every
Right.
year, which they no longer have, but it was a big event for us always. It
Oh.
literally was like dress up and go get your award, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I can remember Tim Hawthorne getting up on stage years ago and saying something about people who call it info commercials.
Yes, right.
It's like, come on, people.
Right.
So anyway, that brought you great success and
It
launched you
did.
into a stellar career as an exceptional host, selling many fitness items, many household items on television.
Yeah, exactly. So over the years, a couple of things that people might remember would be the Easy Crunch, the Flavor Wave oven with Mr. T,
Yeah,
and many Tony Little shows from different
Gazelle,
bikes and
the Gazelle rider.
glider. I think we had 6 different
Uh-huh.
Gazelle glider shows. Turby Twist, John Noakes of Smart Intervention with the Wind Gym, as well as I've worked with George Foreman and Jerry Rice and Anthony Sullivan. Tony
yeah.
Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Sully, who is the guy that you now see taking Billy's place from the Oxi-clean commercials.
That's right. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Anthony Sullivan.
Hello.
Yes, you are, aren't you?
He's great. I love him.
Yeah. So that was one portion, or that was a very big portion of your life, right? This
Right.
is something that, for those that don't know, it's kind of an interesting business to be in because as a host, you actually, and I'm going to reveal this, but as a host, typically you can be paid a couple of different ways, but a really great way to be paid if the product works and really has a nice run on television is with a back end royalty on product sales.
Exactly.
So you and I both over the years. We had our big highs and our lows as far as financially because we we were both in that kind of same business model, right? If we
Right.
did a really great job, me as a producer, maybe a host or HSN, you go the same thing. We're representing a product. We kind of reap the benefits on the back end,
Exactly.
which brought us a ton of dough.
That's right. I mean, the most I got paid for the day was $30,000 for one of the shows, and that had a 1 point back end deal.
Right.
And so that
And that
was
1 point back end deal turned into what?
a couple of 100,000.
Yes, exactly. I
Hmm.
once produced a commercial in my home. This is for $10,000. I produced it right there. I tore apart my home. We shot it from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. That commercial for Side Sleeper Pro Pillow, that commercial, after I did a director's cut, that made something like $80 million. I made probably around $300,000. It took a few years to make that money,
Right.
but I would just get a check in the mail.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I got 50 grand today.
Yes. Yeah. I know. Very grateful for those days. And
Yes.
then those days
Went
kinda
away.
went away. Because after 30 years, I had clients that I had hits with 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago saying, oh, things have changed. Media is more, not much
Right.
is happening on the
Right.
infomercial.
That's
It just really drives the sales at the
At the retail
store,
level.
at the retail level, and blah, blah, blah. And take it or leave it. This is all we have. It's harder to make shows work. And I think there was always, like, back in the day, it was like 3 out of 27 made it or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
And then it got
So
to,
like 1 out of 100. Yeah. Yeah. Because everything is performance based. It's interesting because if you look at the business side of that, everything is performance based now in digital marketing also. But in the infomercial world, which, the show is Generation Jones, we're over 50, we all grew up and know infomercials. And maybe you hate them, maybe you love them. But regardless, the business model of the infomercials or direct response television was something that was a little bit of a secret. Producers made back end, hosts made back end. So we were all in it, right? We were all in it. We all gave it our best because we all reaped the benefits in the back end. A lot of places are now like that in digital marketing, but there was a lull there for about 10 years where infomercials or hosting or selling on TV made a big transition where it no longer was selling a lot of products directly. It was more driving products onto the retail shelf, which was a whole different animal. And that's really of what you speak.
Mhm.
So that changed the dynamics for yourself as a host. That, along with getting older,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
New people coming on the scene,
Right.
younger,
Oh, definitely.
right?
I mean, I remember Tony Little did the advertisings for the Geico. And instead of calling me or having me be the sidekick that I was, still in great shape, by the
Yes,
way,
yes, absolutely. Incredible.
it was a younger version of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I saw those. Those
Yeah.
were recent. Those were those are on the air
Yeah.
now, I think, maybe, or
Are they still
they were on the
airing?
air not too long ago. I
Yeah,
saw.
yeah. It wasn't too long ago.
Yeah,
And it's just kind of,
creepy. I mean, that's too bad.
oh,
So that
oh.
that brings us to,
Yeah.
you know, um,
Mhm.
to then the first time you were ever on one of my shows, we made a joke because I was 60, you were 50,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Right?
60. I'm
50.
50.
I can kick.
And now you're 54. I'm soon to be 64. And it's amazing in these past 3 years what both you and I, yourself, very much so, because you've had a lot of changes, a lot of losses, a lot of sacrifices. Um, and and I think you're on the other side of it. So let's talk a little bit about your accepting this transition in your life.
Right. And I think the real benefit to talking about this, for some reason, I felt so alone and I felt so alienated in not knowing what to do next and being in such a dark place and feeling like I'm the only one there. And so I just am so grateful to have this forum to just say it's part of what a lot of us experience,
Everyone, everyone,
everyone.
everyone.
And it's how, at USM, I have my master's in spiritual
That's right.
psychology. And a lot of what they say is how we go through something. It's not whether you're going to go through something or how you look at something. It's how we frame it or reframe it is what counts. So if I'm really angry at you, for instance, instead of yelling at you and getting all attacking, to just let you know, I'm really upset. This really is hurtful to me
Right.
when you say this, as opposed to doing anger. I can talk like, wow, I'm feeling angry. I don't have to
Right.
do
Not
anger.
to be proactive as opposed to reactive,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah, yeah. I love that. To instead
Count
of
to
react, to respond.
to count to number one, count to 10. Don't
Yeah.
count to three.
I have a
Count to
girlfriend
10.
because
That's what changes.
the 24-hour rule is also a very good one. Like, I'm gonna get back to them tomorrow. But, I mean, to that end, I and here I was doubly beating myself up because people that know me as a very energetic, sort of life of the party,
Yeah.
positive kind of person. And that is very true. That is who I am as well. But a deep, dark secret was that I feel that I've always dealt with a form or a slight depression throughout my life, and or um, feeling not enough, or if they really knew me, I'm getting away with
It's
something.
it's it's I'm listening to you, and we talk a lot, but this is the first time that I'm really hearing you say the things that I felt also, and I'm wondering if we both maybe chose that path because I am exactly the same way. I am so exactly the same way. Vivacious on the outside, life of the party, but all I want to do on my inside is I just want to go retreat into my room, turn the TV on, and have a have a cocktail. I don't need to
That sounds
have
like heaven.
I don't I don't need to have that energy around me to thrive. I prefer kind of to create my own energy, expel it for a little while, and then retreat. And I think maybe it's because, yes, I didn't have very much self-esteem. I didn't think I was good enough, whatever it might be, right? And I was hiding the darkness inside by making the outside so shiny.
Right, right. And you're a very attractive woman with a great figure and blonde hair and tall, so I mean that yeah, that helps, too, to be so people look at you and you can do that and it's like, "Oh my gosh, look at Wendy. She's got everything. She is everything."
Right, but the
Yeah.
weird perspective of Darla is everything also, because Darla and I have not always been friends. And I can remember, and now we're such good friends, and I love you so much, and because you're such a unique, real person, always there. If you need something, Darla will be there for you. And I'm saying that straight from my heart.
Thank you.
But the the perception I had of you back in the day when you weren't famous, and maybe I was in your eyes also, was that I was intimidated by your beauty, by your success, and all of that. And we never really connected as friends.
Right.
We didn't connect as friends. And
Yeah.
then we did. And when we did, it was like, what?
Yeah. I missed out on this all those years I could have had it. Exactly. Yeah. And what's so fascinating with everything that I know from my belief in spirituality and God and getting a master's in spiritual psychology, all those tips and techniques of reframing and taking responsibility and owning myself, I realized that there was just a whole other layer of the onion that is happening during this really dark time. And it threw me off. I mean, the loss of both my parents, the loss of four of my animals, the loss of the career as I knew it, just lost. Like I lost myself.
You have to. I just gave you this book. And the book is called Falling Upward. You must fall all the way into the darkness And that darkness is very different for everyone. But we feel what I'm learning and what I'm really learning about, my intention was not to do a show about the transformation into the second half of life, which is really in a nutshell what my show is about. I started up by thinking Generation Jones, cool, remarkable people that I can have these really interesting conversations because it's this generation that I'm in, right? And I'm finding that's really what's irking everyone and living inside of them is the question of what now? Who am I? What's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I going to do? I can see my tomorrows, right? It's not endless anymore. My life is not endless anymore. And damn it, if I'm going to do anything that really fulfills me, it's now or never.
Exactly. And between now and dead, like whether I start today or never that's the question.
Right.
And that's only up to me. And I feel like I bought into that because I noticed myself being invisible at 50, losing my career, all these kinds of things that were actually happening to me, and then add on the little voices inside my head that were always there that I could kind of shove away when the money was still coming in or I was still getting the attention I was getting. Well, all of a sudden, my career looked like this, and my in my personal life, I was losing. My parents were sick and dying,
Yes.
and
Yep.
my animals and all this,
Yeah.
you
You've had
know.
a tough 4 years,
So
honey.
right,
Oh,
and all that was like, well, can't I use what I know? Like, pick myself up and go, go, go. And really, what it was really being okay to sit with those feelings. There is strength in the darkness, and I think that's what you're pointing to. That we have to all individually
go
go to
through it.
that dark space, and out of that is the wisdom. No matter how much pain you feel, I feel, anyone feels, pain doesn't kill us. Denying the pain.
That's right.
And another thing that I did is I tried to, like it made sense, get my real estate career. I do real estate. I buy and sell
Yeah, but
properties. It made
what
sense.
you were doing in getting your real estate license, right? Is you were grasping at something else. Well, maybe I'm supposed to be a real estate person because everybody else is doing it. So maybe I'm supposed to do that, right? And so
Right.
you went out and you did that,
Hmm.
but and that's what a lot of people will do. They'll say, "Well, I want a new career in this or a new career in that." And that's not going to fulfill your soul.
Exactly. And the idea that, well, and I've got to just like make money now. I just need, and when you just need to make money now, what
You
then?
sacrifice. You sacrifice you just
Hmm.
I mean, hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know?
Right. And
And then you
so,
feel worse.
and there, yes. I mean, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work to deny ourselves. So, however it looks like, I mean, now I know you've talked about a lot of this on air that, the day job, now that you know that this is what is bringing you forward and you've got this, etc., that has a different, that's a
Yes.
reframe
That's
to it
reframe.
as opposed to going in and feeling like this is all there is. And the reframe of now at this point, I am following my passions. So what am I really excited about? Well, the latest and greatest is this CBD oil that I've seen transform so many
Right.
people, and
Right.
it doesn't have
Yeah, I
contraindications.
use
So,
CBD oil.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so I'm getting educated on that.
I I do use CBD oil every morning, just a few drops,
Yep.
and just to take the edge off. You don't
Yeah.
feel it, by the way, and
Thank
everyone.
you. You
You
know
do
what?
not feel it.
I feel like that's so important to underscore because with my mother-in-law recently, I've been giving her the CBD oil
Mhm.
and she's like, I don't want anything. I'm already fainting and having all these,
Put
she's a
it in her
lot of
water.
health
Just put it in her
challenges.
water.
Well, no, what she was not getting is that it doesn't change anything
Yeah, it doesn't
in
make
terms of it
you
doesn't make you
high.
high. I go, and I had to kept saying, Mom, Mom, Mom.
Yeah.
I call her Mom.
Yeah.
She's my mom on earth.
Yes. Yeah.
And and she just would reiterate that like it was stuck. So a really good thing I like to make sure that people understand about CBD and THC is that they're both components of the flower as we
Yes.
that we know as
Yes. And
cannabis.
one has the THC is the psychotropic effect,
Exactly.
and
And the
CBD
CBD
does not, the cannabinoid. Hmm.
at all. Now, some people
But it
could
has the healing benefits. It is the cannabinoid, the CBD, that has the healing benefits, which is why they say that marijuana has never, no one has ever overdosed from marijuana ever. Number two, that that the cancer why CBD oil is also good for cancer patients. It doesn't, by the way, make you hungry like the THC makes you hungry, right? But the CBD stops the aggression of the cancer cells from over multiplying.
and CBD isn't to that point an acronym. It is just what they call the cannabinoid. It's just and the so the cannabinoid also is an anti-inflammatory. So I take it every day as a supplement because and it works on a totally different system than any other drugs, whether they're prescription or over the counter. And so that is why anyone can take them no matter what drugs they're on. I was just talking to a couple of experts and I go, I haven't seen anything that any counterindications to being able to take CBD, no matter what someone's
Yeah, they
taking.
they never say, it doesn't say don't take, well, you can take CBD oil, but you might die from a heart attack, or your colon could burst, or beware, you might, that just
Oh,
that's not it's
right.
not a pharmaceutical. It is just not a pharmaceutical.
Exactly. So to that end, finding a passion, finding something that I am interested in, and the one of them is to share my voyage out of the darkness and feeling so lost and so alone that I want people to know that they don't have to do it alone. I mean, everyone has to go through their own process, but to just know that this is something that's happening,
To
you and I
everyone.
both, to everyone.
It's happening to everyone.
We both felt the same things at 50. And I
No,
kind of
no,
liking it.
no, no,
What?
which is interesting. It's not true. I'm 10 years older than you.
Right.
I went through this terrible darkness transition. You were going through it at 50. I was going through it at 60. We were going through it at the same time. We just kind of
Yes.
didn't know it.
Right.
And we would talk about things like, Darla and I would get together and we'd be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is it we both need? We both need a gig. We both need money. But what are we going
Yeah.
to do? And where are we going to go? And what are we going to, we're trying this and I'm trying that. Well, you know what? I'm doing real estate today. Hey, Darla, this is what I'm doing today. And I'm selling toilet stools. And it's like nothing was ever really clicking. But it wasn't because of any other reason, I believe, that we were going into this transition that people go into to come out the other side. And you don't have to go through it at 60 or 40 or 45. You're just going to go through this second part of life. I have to keep saying that because it's so well put, that's the you get into the tunnel, you can't see the light, and then all of a sudden the light shines through, and
Hmm.
and you're on the other side.
Yes. And what if, by talking about it and supporting, as we supported each other, but like you
Hmm.
said, we didn't really realize that
Hmm.
we were in this tunnel.
Yeah,
We were
we
of
didn't.
great support to
Yeah,
one another,
yeah.
but we didn't have like the words for it. And I think that that's just so fascinating. And I think that it's part of the difference of our generation that we are talking about things. I mean, like my grandmothers never talked about menopause. And even my mother and her generation, they didn't talk about these things. Now, when I have a hot flash, I'll say it to whoever's in the
Yeah,
room, like, oh, I'm having a little hot flash. And it's a way that I just have of like being real. Like
right,
I've always just said my age,
right,
whatever age
right,
I was.
right.
I didn't give an age range.
It's embracing. I think what it boils down to is embracing our age and understanding that the wisdom that we earn in the first part of our lives, where we're carefree, we're absorbing, we just want stuff, you know, that stuff just doesn't matter. And when you say darkness, that darkness can be um, it doesn't have to be scary. It can be quitting your job after 20 years because you're just fed up, man. It brought you into darkness and you just needed to leave home and go out into the world. And that's really what it's all about. Is um, we can be confused by our current situation,
Oh, you just hit
or
something.
we can talk about it, and I'm hoping that talking about it is and making it a ubiquitous problem is like, hello, people, you are not alone.
Yeah.
You are one of the most beautiful hosts, successful hosts on television, and my goodness, listen to your story.
Well, when you said confused, you just really hit on something that I was experiencing, which was mental fog, confusion, not knowing what to do or where to go next, and finding myself, as a woman, I've always been a multitasker, but there was a different thing that was going on, which was, did I do this, or I got to do a little of this and I got to do a little of that, and I was just not making headway in any one
Right,
place, just grasping, just
right,
grasping.
right,
And that mental fog is, I was thinking, am I starting to get Alzheimer's? Am I starting, like, what's going
right.
on?
You couldn't focus on you couldn't see any one thing all the way through to the end. Is that really what you're saying? I guess I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And the mental fog that can be trauma brain. And so there is a trauma brain that I felt going through this experience. I don't know if that's always part of the darkness or just because of, you know, other things that were happening in my life, but just trauma brain.
Yeah.
And to
Questioning everything, uh, it happened to me for 3 years. It started when I was like 60. I was like, Jesus, I woke up and I'm 60. What? And then for 3 years, I just was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why? Maybe I should go back. Maybe I should go back to doing that. Maybe I lost all that. I didn't lose it, but I like, stop doing that. Maybe I should go back. Well, wait a minute. How do I go back? Or here I am today. But it's all, you're lost.
Yeah,
You're really just lost,
right.
confused and lost. And I think that could be when the door opens to your transition,
Uh-huh.
to your having to find acceptance that we are aging. We
Yeah.
might look awesome and feel awesome, but we're aging and we're on the other side of things, right?
Right.
In that sounds like it was 3, 4 years for you. It was 3 years for me.
Yep.
And I'm sure I think it's awesome because I never intended to talk about this stuff, but I really am seeing that everybody just wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's real. It's real. And because I know it's out there, and here's this wonderful book, Falling Upward, and there's information out there, but for some reason it hadn't gotten to me, or by the time I was in it, I didn't know to look for it because I didn't realize I was in it.
That's right, because nobody realizes that it exists because nobody is talking about it. It's like there's no billboard on Sunset that basically says, "Are you over 50 and having problems accepting that?" Right?
Yeah.
Or are you over 60 and still feeling like crap because you don't know where to go or who to turn to or how to talk about it? Or are you over 60 and you just can't figure out what your problem is? I mean, isn't that really what it boils down to?
Right.
It's like, what is wrong with me? I'm
Mm.
not me right now. I'm not me. I'm questioning everything. We had a conversation where, my husband is a little bit still in his first half where he's still kind of he likes he's lovely and he's macho, but at the same time he's a little kid, right? And we want to please them, but I can't be responsible for your happiness. Well, if you're happy,
Right.
I'm happy. That's the stupidest comment in the world for anybody to say. If you're happy, I'm happy. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means I am now responsible for your total happiness, right? So, in understanding our wisdom that we have earned through the many things that we have been through, good, bad, ugly, in our lives, we're able, I think it's awesome for you because you're 10 years ahead of me now, right? I went through it in my 60s. You're going through it now, which puts you so far ahead of the game to when you're in 10 years, when you're my age. Holy moly, look at where you're going to be, right? Because you are finding your path right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And all I can say is that the manhole cover is off. I've started up a beautiful staircase with a white light and rainbows, and that's what I know.
Doesn't it give you that feeling, Darla, like inside, like all of a sudden you feel in your heart, right here, right in the center, I found it. I found it. I found the reason. I found it. That's the only way I can say it.
And when I get scared, I find what helps is if I just go, breathe and say, I'm okay. Like right here, right now, I'm okay. I'm afraid to make this call, and that's okay. And I'm okay with whatever is going to happen on this. Or I'm going to go ahead and do this thing or change my website or change
Right.
LinkedIn.
I don't care what anybody
you
thinks
know?
because you know what? I am so sick and tired of caring what everybody thinks. And in today's social media environment, I posted something on Instagram the other day, a little thing it said, Instagram anxiety is real.
Yeah,
Stop posing and posting. And take some time off from posing and posting.
I saw that.
Yeah, because even though you have to be involved in social media, if to whatever extent, I still get really sick and tired of seeing pictures of people just posing, saying, "Look at how beautiful I am." I mean, if you're beautiful and you're doing things and all that stuff, but I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest for the rest of my life, and my honesty is that I can't take it any longer. I'm swiping through, and it's like, give me some substance,
Yeah, right, right.
please.
And I think that's why I was so resistant to being able to do it. Like for the life of me, I think I've taken like 3 selfies. I can't, blah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Your
but to
that's not your
reframe,
yes, you're reframing it, and that's
yeah,
not really your business, right? So that's not so I was trying to what Darla is talking about is I was saying that, well, Darla, maybe, there's all these women over 50, over 60 that are killing it on Instagram. We had one on the show, Mary Frischman. But they're killing it on Instagram. Even 70, 80-year-old grandmas are killing it on Instagram. But that's a short-term solution. Okay. So they're influencers, they have lots of influence, and maybe brands are paying them to wear their products or do whatever. And so they're making money as influencers. Nothing wrong with that, but that is not sustainable. And for me, that is not something that would fulfill me. That doesn't fulfill me. For me, that is almost like a little bit, hate to say it, I love all you ladies that follow me on Instagram, but I think it's a little bit of a cop out, right? Because if that's truly what's bringing you fulfillment is dressing up in pretty clothes and posting a picture, you're just a model. At the end of the day, aren't you just a model?
right. Well, but for that person to be that model, that could be their end game. That could be their passion, and that could be enough.
Yes, that could be where they find their purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I just look at it a different way. I feel as though social media should be used uh, to help society. And I don't know what I'm trying to say except for as soon as I started to really go through Instagram and look at things and look at my feed every day, because now I'm following a lot more people over 50, over 60, over 70, I'm just seeing that, you know, great. It's just another picture of a beautiful silver-haired woman taken, typically it looks like professionally, and everybody hearting it and saying it, how great you look. And you do look great, but for me, there's just more to life.
And then
I want a message. I want to
and
help. I
then
want to talk.
you know,
You know.
and then what?
Yes. And then what?
And then what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, Ari is telling me I have to wrap it up. But, Darla, so if people do want to get in touch with you,
Yes.
and also I wanted to tell you this, and I want to do it on air. In February, I am going to create, I'm going to put an Eventbrite out for people getting together that are over 50 and talking about this. And I'm going to do it in my town. And I'd love to invite you to come.
Thank you.
So we get people together and we just kind of talk about this over 50, over 60 transition and really get the conversation going outside of the podcast, but also, one-on-one. So
I can't wait.
I'll keep you posted on that.
Thank
That
you.
should be
Please
fun.
do.
But do you have anything coming up or?
Yeah, the thing that I'm most excited about is just sort of being out of the darkness and into the possibility. And the CBD is really a passion and a growing career. And so outside of, and talk about bringing value other than just the looks and, the pitching and the selling, it has to be of something of value. I never could do a product that I didn't believe in. As a
Right.
matter of fact, I remember turning down a product that was $12,500 up front, but it didn't work, and I turned it down.
Yeah, and rightfully so. You should turn
Rightfully,
it down.
yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, no regrets.
Did it go on to make billions of dollars?
Yeah, I did. It did. It did. It was,
I just had a knife in my heart.
right, exactly. But I still have no regrets,
Yeah.
for that. And so what I mean by that is just, if you're doing something that isn't bringing you passion and isn't part of bringing you what it fulfills you, then find something that does. And I love the journaling idea.
Yeah, well, I started journaling because I had John Tarnoff on the show, and I'm still journaling, by the way, which really helps. Sometimes what I write is just so stupid, but he said it doesn't matter what you write, you just write it. And it's like, and then in the middle of writing something, I'll start doing like calculations on cost of goods on my toilet store business, and then I go, oh, I got to get back to writing. Uh, but I'm so happy for you because it's really wonderful. I'm hearing the words in my head right now to walk this path with you.
Thank you. Honor
Yeah.
is mine.
I just got tears. But
Confirmation.
it's a remarkable time in our lives. It is something that we do need to discuss. We need to help people with, and we can have fun doing that.
Yes.
And don't be embarrassed by it. Don't be confused by it. We all go through it. Maybe we're going through it with high anxiety. Maybe we're looking for medication to help us through that, or, smoking a joint or whatever it might be. But I have got to say, I spent 3 years in that tunnel, and this podcast is my other side. Where this leads me is what I'm looking forward to. Right? I am looking really forward to the future right now, even though I know that future is going to end up in, dust to dust. But
the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
That's right.
And at USM, they would teach us that you've just put it in 3-foot tosses.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yep. So anyway, Darla Haun, thank you. Everybody can probably find you at darlahaun.com. And this was wonderful. This was my favorite show so far.
Wow.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, honey. I love you.
I love you too. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode. You can find us everywhere you download your podcast. And when you do, please leave us a review. If you have a topic or a guest you'd like to suggest, go to generationjonespodcast.com and send me an email. Make sure to follow us on social media at Jen Joneser or at C-Spot Talk. Generation Jones was produced by C-Spot Run Productions, editing and music by Orsi Digital Media, and a special thanks to Ari Morel for her help each week. See you next week, and thanks for listening.